Steph.
And I'm Joel.
And welcome to Framed
Canvas Cuff
and Other Stuffs.
Season 2, baby.
Woo!
We're back. Enjoy the episode. Do you remember that guy? The alive and cooking guy who was always on TV when we were homesick? He had the long hair. It's like, I'm alive and cooking.
No, but
He was like hot.
I feel like it was like, I remember like Huey.
Oh, no, he was like the hot Huey. Not to say Huey's not hot, but Huey was always doing crazy shit.
Yeah, Huey was just
always like putting big tubs of cream into slow cookers and
being like,
everything was
Huey.
oily and battered.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he put a salmon in the dishwasher and cooked it once. He's
Huey.
like, did you know you could do this with your dishwasher?
20 minutes and you've got a full meal.
A salmon. I remember once I was homesick and Huey was cooking lamb's brains. And I remember being like, you know what? They look kind of damn good because they like crisped up in the pan. So when he put them in, they look like little brains.
Yeah.
But then they crisped up and got all like golden brown and like kind of like crispy on the outside. I was like, Huey,
I could go a brain.
I could eat a brain. A brain. Eating a brain.
He was the original, like, you know how people do TikTok, like almost like rage bait type things where they're cooking salmon in a dishwasher.
Yeah.
He was the original.
Yeah.
I feel like it was that. Ready, Steady, Cook was always on.
Oh, with that.
Ready, Steady, Cook.
Remember the host? He was so flaming and he was really like touchy-feely.
Yeah.
Like he would be that close to them.
It's like, what did you bring in today?
Yeah.
You're like, ah.
Like, oh, that looks delicious. And like poke them.
It's like Sharon's brought in a block of cheese.
Yeah. And the whole audience would be like, ooh.
Ooh. And she's bought.
Oh, yum.
It's like all real basic stuff. And then it would be like, and brie cheese.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
Ooh.
gourmet Sharon.
I'm voting capsicum.
Yeah. Green capsicum and red capsicum.
No, red tomato.
Red tomato.
Yeah.
Are they making 3 p.m. shows like that anymore?
Ready, Steady, Cook's back with
It's back.
It's back, everyone. What's his name? Miguel. Someone. He used to be on the living room. He's like super excited.
Yep.
And he's like Spanish or something.
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
So he's Ready, Steady, Cook now. If it hasn't already been cancelled.
Bring it back.
Mm.
Well, no, watch it.
No.
What other 3 p.m. shows should be on? I don't know. Where's Oprah? Where's Oprah? She was more a 2 o'clocker, 1 o'clocker.
I liked Ellen at the time.
Ellen.
Yeah. Gonna have fun today.
The workers are like, it's like, really?
Let's have a little fun. Oh no. I guess maybe I stand with Ellen. How bad could she have been?
I think maybe
compared to some other people in the industry, how bad could she have been?
And you know what? She still made a lot of money, so he
yeah,
doesn't care.
I just feel like the world just really.
I think when you base your brand around kindness and then you're not kind, that's where the issue lies.
Yeah.
If she had been,
I just want one piece of video footage of her like losing her
it?
shit.
Yeah.
So I could be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it would be like a stressful place to work. You have to put out a show every day.
Like, did she like punch a hole through a wall or something?
Well, she just, I think she was just verbally abusive.
Yeah, right.
And like to her workers.
Yeah.
And it's like these people are putting in like a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just treat them with some respect.
Some respect. I don't know. I thought it was a bit of fun.
Oh, yeah.
She lives in London. No, she lives in somewhere in the UK now, like in a farm with her and Portia.
Portia, Australia's own.
Geelong's own. Yeah, she was from Geelong.
We love to see it.
Yeah.
She's great in Arrested Development.
She's really good.
Second episode we've mentioned it.
Yep.
Arrested Development. If you haven't watched
Great
it,
show. Oh my God.
please.
I base so much of my life off Arrested Development. Yeah.
This is a preamble. I haven't even said.
No, it totally is. I'm still trying to think of a recommendation, but I just don't think I'm going to give you one. I don't think I'm going to give you one today. I don't have one.
You know what?
My recommendation is my Prince shirt
Where'd you
that
get
I
it?
got yesterday from JB Hi-Fi. They sell shirts, if you didn't know.
If you didn't know, they sell a lot of cookie things.
I feel like this shirt might have been there for like 10 years, but they do have a little like shirt section where you can get band shirts and stuff like that.
They're like, finally, someone's bought it.
And I got it because I want to start wearing cooler stuff to dancing.
And you said, this Prince shirt at JB Hi-Fi. That'll get the kids going. Hey guys, look at my cool shirt. They're like, who's Prince? Who the fuck is Prince?
That's not Blackpink.
No,
No,
tell
because
me your
they
journey.
all wear funky clothes. Like,
Yeah.
especially the new sexy dance studio I go to. All the people who go there are dressed like so funky. So I'm like, okay, I can't just like keep rocking up in my gym gear.
Maybe
I need
that's-
to look more street. So
This is hip hop.
I went and had a peruse in JB Hi-Fi. And
I
found
love-
a shirt that says Prince.
It's a great
And I
shirt.
like Prince. He's not cancelled or anything, is he?
No, we
I
love
hope not.
Prince.
Okay, good.
I hope
And so I got it for dancing, and it's meant to be 3 times extra large, but it kind of fits me nicely. And I'm like, oh,
You're like,
because I thought it was going to be, you know how the kids
Yeah.
they're wearing them like
kids.
muumuus.
As we're just like referring to like 18-year-olds now. You know the kids.
They're
We're
wearing
not
shirts
50.
like muumuus that go down past their knees,
Yeah.
and that's what I was. I'm like, oh, 3 times XL. I'll have to
Put
get
it
one of
on.
those.
You're like,
I put it on, and it was like a chesty bonds, and I'm like, crap.
it's a little crop top.
Yeah, so I did wear it to dancing last night, and I still just did not look the coolest in the class by a long shot.
I couldn't. I would be so intimidated. By the youth,
No, it's fun. Everyone's welcome.
except for you. I think until they see me start to dance, they're like, better.
No, even the people who aren't very good still get a good clap along at the end. And
I don't
and
want
a
your
woo!
pity clap.
Yeah, it's
I'm okay with
pity
being
claps.
bad.
Yeah,
What are you recommending this week, Joel? Just
my
dancing?
Prince shirt
Your Prince
from JB
shirt.
Hi-Fi.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
JB Hi-Fi wants to sponsor the podcast. We're here and we're ready.
Because it's in that weird section where it's like board games and Funko
then
Pops
I
and stuff that
imagine-
no one ever goes in.
I imagine it's like a Prince shirt, but also like a Pusheen cat shirt, like that little grey cat.
Beg your pardon?
A Pusheen.
It's a pushing.
A Pusheen is that grey cat that's like a blob. You would have seen her.
Oh,
They
I
love
kind of
push-
get what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're-
No, there's a lot of like, it's, no, there's
You're wrong.
a lot of like Green Day and Offspring and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All like the My Chemical Romance album with the 2 people like kissing with blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
That's
And I
fine.
think it's been the same shirts for the last like 20 years.
They've made it.
They had I like Prince. What can I say? When Doves Cry is a
Oh.
great song.
Great. Yeah, 10 out of 10.
The lyric in When Doves Cry that I really like.
This is what it sounds like when doves cry?
No. Something about
Uh-huh.
animals watching them.
Something
What? It's like something
You're
about
just running through
animals
all the-
watching them like make love or something. Animals strike curious poses. They feel the heat between me and you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So the animals are watching them going, what? What?
Huh?
What's going on?
He's writing some cookie things.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Stop having sex at the zoo, Prince.
Yeah. You know what he would. You know,
Mm.
what a sexy man.
What a curious man.
Very fluid in everything.
Yeah, but I think he was like, I don't think he was gay. Well, at least he said he wasn't.
I think he was a bit.
But you see
Both
some of the.
ways.
Did you see the yellow like arseless chaps outfit that he wore on tour once?
and
It just
the-
looked so. That.
There's a lot of feather. He was so flamboyant.
Yeah. But then he talked like this.
Yeah, and that's what
Yeah,
got you.
that's what. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, Prince.
All right.
Wait,
John.
oh, hey, do you have a recommendation?
Yeah.
Don't think you're getting out of this.
Oh. My recommendation is we went to Bendigo and we went and saw just Bendigo.
Woo!
Bendigo as a whole. We went to the Frida Kahlo exhibition in Bendigo.
Ah, cool.
I will preface
They've
this.
got a good gallery there.
They have a really
Yeah.
good gallery there. They do a lot of interesting stuff. We'll preface it. If you're going to see her art, it's not her art, it's more her life. Does that make sense? So it's her clothing, her things, see the corsets,
Mm.
you know, all that kind of stuff. So it is, they do have an original there, which is fab right at the end. It's like the centerpiece at the end.
Cool.
But it is more about her life. So if you're interested in learning about that, I would recommend going and seeing it. It's a lot of photography and about her life with Diego and She is pretty much in every photo just like chugging on a cig, and it's like pretty amazing. Like she just looks cool.
How does an original Frida Kahlo get packed up and make its way to country town in Australia?
A lot of begging.
Yeah, it must cost so much money.
I wonder, well, this was loaned out from a private collection from one of her past lovers.
Oh, okay.
They have the photo of him with it in the background of his home, which is cool.
Right.
I have no doubt that eventually, the big NGV gala type exhibition they put on at the end of every year. I have no doubt one day it will be a full Frida one.
Yeah,
but getting all of her artwork in one place would be quite difficult, I imagine. If you're in Bendigo and you want to see some of Frida's stuff, there is I'll just preface it with this. There is it's all beautiful, and maybe it was just a us thing. There was an unease about it because she went through so much medical stuff.
Yeah.
And there is
lots of rods and nails
and things in her, and like all of the corsets and stuff. There is
much pain.
Yeah, medical unease about everything, and it feels very like, oh boy, like you really went through it. And it's just one of those things where you just go, she lived, I think, quite a somewhat joyous life, but there's such this deep pain, and you just feel it in everything.
Didn't a pole go through her or something in a car crash?
I'm going to do a full episode on her.
Okay, we'll talk about her another time.
Not today, but I will do a full episode on it because it is interesting. But she was impaled in a
that's right,
in a bus accident.
I watched that movie. I think it's Salma Hayek. Penelope Cruz. Penelope Cruz.
I've never watched that film. Maybe I should. She was impaled by a rod that went through her hip and then through her vagina. Yikes. It's not what you want when you're just catching the bus to and fro.
No. Oh, God, that made my whole body cringe.
So go to Bendigo, go see it. It's only on for a little bit longer and enjoy.
What are we talking about today?
Well, Joel, I've taken a leaf out of your book.
Oh, doing a list?
I'm doing a list.
Yeah. Love a list.
I am doing a bit of a list for you. I'm doing, I think it's about, I'm going to say 5 feuds in the art world. Episode on feuds. Feuds.
Are you starting at the least feudy going to the craziest one, or is it just in random order?
Just a bit in random order, purely for the fact that there's some that are a bit more modern, some that are a bit. I am finishing on the one where I was just like, this isn't a full episode, but I enjoy this story, so I'm gonna.
Yep.
It's a lot of petty. Some have a bit more meat than others, but here's some feuds for you.
Perfect.
5 art feuds.
Hungry for some feuds.
Some feuds. Alrighty. So let's start with Pollock versus Kooning.
Oh. Splatter.
Splatter
paint.
Yeah. You've got it in one. This is a rivalry that it's not like a big fight or anything. It just started kind of as a quiet, almost respect, but like little digs here and there. So it's probably 2 of the most interesting kind of painters around like the 1940s, because they were breaking barriers into this new space of art of like, I'm trying to think.
Pollock around the 40s. Damn.
Was
his life. See why he was a visionary. Like that kind of art was probably not
a thing. So it's
would have been controversial.
Yeah, it was super controversial. Yeah. So it's the 1940s, and the art world is kind of shifting away from the more traditional Paris kind of look and feel of it all. This is a picture of the thing. And in the streets of Manhattan, it's kind of also New York is not the New York we think of now. When we think of Manhattan, it's dangerous. It's kind of a bit dark. It's that kind of energy, right?
Yeah.
We're on the cusp of, what I was looking for, abstract expressionism.
Yes.
That is the kind of vibe of painting. Yeah. And there's kind of 2 giants in this game. One is Jackson Pollock. He is a very raw, unpredictable kind of cowboy in this art world. And then there's Willem de Kooning, who is a bit more of, he has slowly built his work to be respected within the art world, whereas Pollock's a bit more of like a drunk cowboy coming in, like doing that kind of thing. So
Never heard of de Kooning in my entire life.
show you some of their work so you can see the difference. Doing similar things in very different ways.
Right.
Whereas Pollock's being like a bit more like chaos and that kind of thing. Kooning's a bit more like intellectual and structural about it all.
Okay.
Somewhat a similar outcome and in the same realm.
Yep.
So obviously this is the Pollock.
Yep.
So as you said,
the
Joel,
Pollock.
splatters.
Splattertown.
We as a country own a Pollock it is in Canberra, I believe.
Okay.
And when we as a country bought it, if I remember correctly, it really caused controversy because people couldn't understand why we spent so much money on a splatter painting.
Yes.
Now it's worth a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah, there you go. He knows his colours, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think if you go that way, that's
Oh, I love this.
Kooning. So
Ooh.
his work, similar energy, different way to get there.
Is he Russian?
He was Dutch originally.
Okay.
So he builds his layers with brush strokes and things like that.
So that it's chaotic, but it's more structured chaos.
Structured chaos. Whereas Pollock is just entire chaos.
You remember have you seen that Simpsons episode where they show that like Russian version of Itchy and Scratchy? And they're like, it's like, I'll have to show you real quick. They're called Worker and Parasite.
Itchy and Scratchy. Oh my God. Yeah, that is
and it's
the
like
vibe.
a really depressing cartoon.
Yeah.
And they show it. They're like, what the hell was that? That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah, that's the artist. Yeah, 100%. That is exactly the vibe. Their relationship starts in studios and like bars in New York City, and essentially they kind of, where the art crew hang out, it's called Cedar Tavern, and it's kind of where the New York School of Art kind of lives. Like all of that bubbling away. If you're an artist, you're going there and you're meeting other artists.
A lot of wankers all in one spot.
Pretty much. Pretty much. So Pollock grew up poor in Wyoming. He came up really fast. So he befriended Peggy Guggenheim of the Guggenheim.
Of the Guggenheim. Peggy.
Yep. Peggy.
Yeah.
And so she kind of backed Pollock. And
Peg
then
my Guggenheim.
Nope.
Cut that.
Cut
it.
And also Time Magazine did a cover on Jackson Pollock and called him Jack the Dripper. And
that's
so
cool. That is such a good line.
Yeah. So because of that kind of like perfect melding pot of like backing from a Guggenheim, that cool tagline.
Yeah, Jack the Dripper.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He exploded. And he became this kind of like icon of this new art movement.
That is the coolest nickname.
Jack the Dripper. Like, I want a cool name.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Kooning had built his career slower, more methodical. He spent a lot of years refining his style and where he was going. And he was really well respected within the artist community, but he didn't have like that household name fame that Pollock got really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So he was one of those people where it's like he was an artist kind of vibe. So they did somewhat admire each other, but Kooning was a bit more like you're just a famous artist, whereas I'm an artist type vibe. I still respect what you do, however, I've put the work in.
Yeah. But you can't
be doing
that. Everyone does their art in their own way.
Yeah. So they both knew that the other mattered. However, Pollock once admitted that he watched Kooning closely and like, as in like he watched his career and he was like, you don't mess with him. He's doing the heavy lifting within the art world. Does that make sense? I don't know if it does.
Pollock's saying that about
Kooning.
Okay.
Whereas like
So Pollock's being a bit more respectful about
about him.
whereas Koening's kind of like...
Yeah, he was just kind of like, this guy is Pollock. He's like loud and rambunctious and like he's doing like...
So Koening's a bit more bitchy about it.
Yeah. And like he's jealous of the fame that Pollock got so quickly.
Yeah.
He said about Pollock's career, he said Jackson had one small victory and it just so happened it was a big one. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of saying like, I've put all of these years of work in and I've created my empire type thing, whereas Jackson Pollock did one thing and it's splatter art and then it just so happened it became famous.
You can't think like that. That way of thinking is going to eat you alive.
I know. So
that's called envy, jealousy.
Envy. So essentially it was like little barbs to each other throughout the career. Now, this is kind of where they're just kind of barbing each other. It doesn't ever blow up, but then unfortunately in 1956, Jackson Pollock crashes his convertible and he was drunk driving and he unfortunately died. And then his girlfriend at the time, Ruth, survived, as did his other two friends in the car. Pollock was only 44. So Koenig they'd known each other and they were kind of in each other's lives their whole life. But apparently this is whether it was true or not, I don't know, but I like to think that it is. Apparently at Pollock's funeral, someone asked Koenig, like, what do you think about all of this? Like, how are you feeling, you know? And he said, it's over. I'm number one now.
Oh, no. There. That's so petty.
I know. But then it also gets a little bit more interesting because after Pollock's death, Koenig actually ended up becoming involved with Ruth, Pollock's girlfriend.
Koenig was a man obsessed.
I know.
He was obsessed with Pollock. Yeah.
He wanted his life.
Oh, that's so lame.
I know, right? But they ended up dating for 4 years.
Okay.
So they must have liked each other.
Yeah.
Or I think it was a real messy time in the art world.
Oh, he just seems like a bit of a bitch.
Yeah, I think he was.
Petty bitch.
So anyway, they're both still well renowned.
Yeah.
They've just had a little bit of a feud and bitching about each other.
Yeah.
But Pollock, I feel weirdly, which is unlike, quite respectful.
Yeah.
It was just
a bit more like maybe because he'd gotten his stardom. He's just like, as if I care about this guy.
I don't care about this guy.
I'm not gonna badmouth him.
Also, he was a bit of a drunk, so he's probably just like, whatever, mate. Like,
I
got other things I'm dealing with. So yeah.
Other guys like, fucking Jackson Pollock.
God
damn it.
Can't catch a break.
Yeah.
Just got a picture of him in his house throwing knives at it.
Yeah.
It was...
Focus on your own art and get your way there yourself.
Exactly. And also you have recognition. It's not like he was...
His stuff was cool.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Itchy and scratchy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that feud. Moving on to feud 2.
Mm-hmm.
This is Banksy versus King Robbo.
King Robbo?
King Robbo.
Okay.
Do you know what kind of the number one rule of street art is, Joel?
Don't talk about street art.
Don't talk about... What's the number one?
Remain unseen.
Oh, I like that. Not quite though. The rule... Do you want to have another stab in the dark?
The number one rule of street art.
Within the street art community.
Have your own style.
Oh, that's another good one. Not quite though.
No. Oh, damn it. I really wish I got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
So the rule is if you like tag or on a wall, that is your wall. You're not allowed to paint over it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's what you're going to say, yeah.
That makes sense. Well, that's tagging. I wasn't thinking tagging as street art.
But
I was thinking more murals.
Murals
big graffiti pictures.
But so it's like if you claim space and someone tags over it or paints over it or that kind of thing within the community, it's like a big no-no.
Have you ever seen someone tagging or doing graffiti ever in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I was like, I haven't.
But it's very rare.
There's so much in Melbourne.
It's so much in Melbourne.
In
it's
the
very
craziest
rare.
spots.
I find it interesting, like, well, let's talk about Pam
Bird.
Interesting, like, was everywhere for so long. I remember seeing it like years ago and then all of a sudden it's on the side of Novotel.
Are they, what's it called when you go down the building on the thing?
I think so.
Are they doing that?
What are you, but also like, who did you have on the inside to get you up onto the roof to be able to scale down it? Like, how does it, I'm afraid of heights. I'm not doing that.
But it must be so cool just being like, did that.
I did that.
Yeah.
And I also think.
No one can catch me.
Yeah. It's like, it's something the rebel in me wants to do it, but the scaredy cat in me could never.
Yeah.
Like, it just is cool. I love street art.
Defo.
I'd be the lamest graffiti artist. That's kind of the number one rule. You don't paint over other people's shit.
Yep.
Disrespectful.
Yep.
This whole feud kind of happens on one wall. So it's not just any wall. It's a slab of concrete that is near the Regent's Canal in Camden, London.
Okay.
So it's kind of like one of those walls, like it would be like any other graffiti. There's nothing special about it. You just kind of walk past it if you saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But Banksy and King Robbo, both in the street art world, have both very different kind of old world, new world about it, right?
Yeah.
So King Robbo is like an old school graffiti writer. He kind of came up in the 80s where he was like spray painting on the sides of bridges and trains, and he kind of grew his legacy around the London scene.
Yeah, right.
So he was really well known for the fact that he could like scale these walls. Like, he had a bit of guts and grits about him. He was like, cool guy. And then one massive piece he did in 1985 kind of was this like 25-foot long piece of the canal wall.
Cool.
So he did that, and it kind of became that's his piece.
That's his space.
Space, and it really remained untouched for pretty much untouched until 2000.
Okay.
So then in 2000, Banksy had at that point become like the darling of the street art world, which is an interesting thing because there's that kind of thing with Banksy's work where it's like he's in the art world, but he's a street artist. It's like the people in the street art world would be like, no, you don't do that. You don't become part of the art world. You've got to be a street artist or nothing at all.
Do you think people who know Banksy, the person, know he's Banksy? Do you think he's told a single soul?
Yes.
Or she?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I want to do a whole episode on who Banksy could be.
Okay, cool.
Because I think it's so interesting.
Same.
I
reckon even people close to him don't know.
I think people do, and they're willing to keep the secret, but I think you've got to really
risky.
I feel like it's like you've really got to like pay your dues to find out who it is.
Yeah.
And I hope I think potentially it could be a collective now and not just one.
Yep.
And it might have It might have always been a collective.
Yep.
Not to step on the episode's toes of when we do it, but yeah, when you think back, but like, yeah, I think it could be multiple people.
Yeah, that could make sense. Yeah.
I'm obsessed. I can't wait to one day find out. I know I will find out one day.
I think I find that kind of street art, I think it's kind of in its time and place now. I don't find it that interesting anymore. I find it very trendy, like little girl with the red balloon and all that kind of stuff.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And I think his stuff it's what he's doing now has really it's taken him out of the street art world. He's doing more like things around the kind of the conversations around the art world, like where he had the piece that got shredded in
that's
auction,
right. Yeah.
At the auction house. Like he's doing stuff that's more commentating on the art world than it is. He's just a street artist.
Yeah.
Or well, not just a street artist. Anyway, obviously Banksy is mysterious and political and subversive and profitable, which is what street artists usually are. So he stenciled onto, before we go into it, Robbo kind of that old world graffiti generation saw it as like flashy shortcut because it was stencils and not
actual freehand spray painting. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I guess that was kind of.
But they've got to cut out the stencils. That's something.
They've got to think about it. They've got to do some stuff. So I guess there's that point of contention between the two of, I don't know if I respect you. And whereas Banksy might have respected what Robbo did, but Robbo did not respect.
Yeah.
So at some time in December, I think it was around maybe 2000 ending, Banksy stenciled a piece directly over Robbo's 1985 canal piece.
Oh, that's not cool, man.
So at that point, that piece had faded, but it was still intact.
Yeah.
I'll show you photos, but his new piece was a worker pasting wallpaper over piece. That was the Banksy piece.
Okay.
So it's
that's covering a fair chunk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's a bit of a dick move, isn't it?
It is, especially when Banksy is not unaware. Like, he's very aware of how you respect and treat street art. It's not like he didn't know.
Yep.
And also I think it's declaring this kind of beef of like the old world of, and maybe this is how you could see it. Banksy's saying your world is
now.
done.
Yeah.
It's now time to move on to the young, like let the young kids come through.
Oh, that's
it feels
dick
bad.
Move. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It looks cool.
It looks great.
It's a
effective.
dick move. Yeah.
So at this time, King Robbo was technically like retired from street art, but he came out of retirement because he saw this as a direct insult.
Yeah.
And so there was a bit of like back and forth between like Banksy and Robbo. So on Christmas Day, Robbo and a crew of old school writers returned to the canal and repainted over Banksy's wallpaper man. So it kind of went back and forth, but this was one of the versions that they did.
This is awesome.
So Robbo painted it, so it was like Banksy was painting the
that's cool.
Robbo, like
King Robbo.
King Robbo. So it's like they put the old tag there, it made it look like Banksy was painting it, like, yeah. And the cool thing about this was because it was of an internet age, people would see these things happening, and so they'd take photos and put it online because there was just this back and forth.
And it's cool that they kept, I like that he worked Banksy's into his.
Yeah, exactly.
And made it about him again.
There was this kind of, pick a side, it's all online, whose team are you on? Like, what's the actual conversation around street art? And Banksy never really came out and said why he started it in the first place.
Well, he doesn't come out and say anything
ever. Not
to
often.
anyone.
To anyone. Actually, don't know who he is.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, was it a joke or a tribute gone wrong, or like, what was his intention behind that first piece?
I like this kind of fighting.
Yeah, me too.
It's fun.
It's fun. So in the end, around 2011, the feud ended because poor King Robbo passed away.
No.
So he was after a mysterious fall, didn't look further into it, but I just wrote it down. So maybe a next episode. After a mysterious fall, he never fully recovered and unfortunately passed away. Now, I think he was in a coma and in a bad state for a few years. But when he passed away, Banksy went back to the wall and painted a tribute with a single candle flickering as like a remnant of the fight. So
that's kind of sweet.
Yeah, so it's like they restored the OG original Robbo, and then he did a little candle, but the candle is a spray paint can.
Oh, one of those signs.
And with the flame sign on it. So that was Banksy's kind of tribute to Robbo.
That's nice.
Now, I don't know whether his crew then went and said, fuck you, man, and then like painted over it. But that was Banksy's kind of final word on the whole thing.
So Robbo started that kind of style of graffiti, I guess?
I think he just became known within the community to be that person who he didn't create this OG style of spray painting. He was just one of the big dogs within that world. Yeah. And so when he passed away, that was Banksy's.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah. So that's the King Robbo versus Banksy story.
That's fun. That's a fun feud.
I know. And it's kind of sweet how it ended.
Yeah.
Even like dead, but like the tribute was sweet.
The tribute. Yeah. There's still respect among the artists.
Exactly. So, feud number 3. On ding, 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 ding. This is the craftsman versus the conceptualist.
Ooh.
Hockney versus Hearst.
Oh, this sounds classy. This sounds like a classy feud.
This is a classy feud.
Okay.
This is an older man classy feud. So, this is about a kind of like a grudge between two of UK's biggest art names, David Hockney and Damien Hirst.
Mhm.
So the kind of center question around this whole thing is what actually makes someone an artist, which is a very interesting conversation we've just been having. In January of 2012, there are two massive retrospectives that are about to open in London. On one side of London, David Hockney is the kind of darling of British painting, is about to unveil a massive major show, and I will show you his work right now.
Mhm.
This is, and you might kind of see the vibe and be like, oh yeah, I've seen this work before.
Oh, yes.
So
I've
that's
seen this.
Hockney.
Yep.
And he's about to do like this huge, joyous show.
Mhm.
I'll show you.
I do love that. I love art.
You know what? Love art. I'm glad you do. You've got a podcast about it. He's about to unveil this major show at the Royal Academy of Arts. On the other side is Damien Hirst, who does stuff like this.
Oh, yes.
So he does like the skulls, which were bejeweled. He does the animals in the big,
yes.
like he bought the shark and put it in the big.
Does he have the thing that's like cut into a bunch of pieces in perspex?
I think, yes, he does.
Is it a horse or a
and like
or a shark?
he's put like a basketball in there as well. Like he's done,
Yeah.
he does all this big conceptual work.
Oh, that's cool.
He's about to open a show at the Tate Modern, showcasing
I went there.
Been there? Good.
Went there in June last year.
See there anything?
There was a big dark warehousey room with like an engine inside it and flickering lights and
Heaps of art.
Heaps of stuff.
Lots of modern art.
Yeah.
So he's known obviously for dead animals in tanks, but this particular Tate Modern is work of, it kind of showcases his spot painting, like these very methodical and almost like how did someone paint that? They're so like perfect little colourful dots.
Yeah.
On a big white
Did you do
background.
a big blue one?
No.
Yeah, right.
It's all just like
It's ringing a bell.
So far, there's not been any tension building at all until Hockney puts show posters up all over London. So this is the guy with the, not Hirst. I know it's hard. They've both got similar names. This is Hockney who does the painting.
Yep.
He puts posters up all over London, and just under his name says, all the works here were made by the artist himself personally.
Okay.
The reason,
you'd hope so.
Yep.
Yeah.
The reason why this is kind of like a dig and a swing at Hirst is because Hirst is a very well known for coming up with concepts, but getting his team to do it.
To build it for him. So it's his idea and then he gets someone to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So he has his artist assistants do it for him.
Yes.
Specifically, apparently, he even once admitted he found the process of doing the dot work so boring that he just got someone else to do it for him.
Okay.
So he's a very much
that is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So Hockney doesn't deny the fact that this was a real dig at Hirst.
Mm-hmm.
He says that artists who rely heavily on assistants are a little insulting to the craftsman in the art world.
Oh.
And that true art should involve the artist's hand, that it should be personal, physical, and
I have to say I agree. But that's not to say that Hirst's art isn't personal, but I do in some way agree with the fact that you, like, it would just be like me being like, oh, do you know what would look cool? A horse on roller skates.
Do it.
Make that. And then I'm the credit as the artist because I'm like, that would look cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's obviously a very, I'm general. I'm obviously he puts a lot more work into the creative direction and all that kind of stuff that he does. However, he'd be more of a creative director.
Yeah. So it's the it's almost like, and I don't know if this is the right word for it, but it's the conceptual artist
Mm.
versus an artist.
Mm.
They both have their roles and they both exist, but it's like, I don't know. I don't have the answer for
Neither
you.
do I.
But
I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, but then I wonder if you go back in the day, Da Vinci would sometimes start a work and then he'd be like, I don't want to paint the fish. I've painted 1,000 fish in my lifetime. My apprentice can paint the fish for me.
Yep.
Now, I think the difference here, which is what we're pulling the quote from Hockney about it, which I'll read in a sec, but with like someone like Da Vinci, he's teaching his assistants how to paint.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas I don't think Hirst is teaching his team how to do it.
He's getting people who know how to do it to make
execute.
It for him.
Yeah. So this is
it's like getting a plumber come over because you don't know how to, fix your shower taps, but you want them fixed.
Then you say, I did that.
I got my taps fixed today. But it was the plumber who fixed it, not you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You called the plumber.
So this is what Hockney said.
This is This is a very interesting concept.
So Hockney said, craftsmanship is something you can teach. Poetic insight is something you cannot. And they're not even teaching the first part anymore. So he's kind of saying, not even doing it. You're doing exactly what we've just discussed, which is, go do that for me. This is the idea. All right. And then he'll spin it in his way.
But also, like, why does Hockney have a big bee in his bonnet about Hirsch in the first place? Like, just let him do his thing and you do yours.
I know.
Hirsch seems like he caught a stray there. And Hockney was just like, fuck this guy. I'm going to call him out on this poster.
I also think as well, like, Hirst is someone who, like, cops this flack a lot. He does a lot of work and he gets he cops it from people saying like, so I don't think it's a new concept for him. Someone's bragging on his art.
But it's also like he does a lot of work, but like what is the work he's putting into besides thinking up an idea? Like he's obviously, coming up with the scale himself. Maybe he's thinking of what needs to be used to construct these things.
Mm-hmm.
Or he could just be like, I need someone to build this. I don't know how.
Yeah. And I think there's an element of if you were collaborating as an artist with someone else because you're like, I want to build a sculpture. I don't know how to do it. But I think I don't know.
Kind of like visual merchandising.
Hockney is very much wanting to put this kind of debate out there especially with these posters, because he is really dedicated to like the drawing and the painting daily discipline of artistic practice.
Yeah.
He's very open about like how like he's had a really long career. His work is really, really good. And he is very much about like he's put the time and the effort in to get there. Like, and I think not that Hirst hasn't, but it's just a different path that he's taken.
Yeah.
Hockney doesn't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah.
Hirst doesn't ever really respond directly to any criticism.
Yeah.
He doesn't even.
That's good.
Yeah. So I wish. So he still puts on like obviously his show and his paintings sell for millions. So it's kind of interesting. It's like, well, he's still doing.
Is he getting all of that or does he distribute some to the people who have worked for him?
Well, he would have paid them. I don't know how much he pays them. They'd be on the payroll though.
Yeah. I'd want to know that part too.
Yeah. And it's kind of the question is like, is Hirst just a CEO of an art collective?
Yeah.
Like, is that, you know what I mean?
No, I do. That's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah. It just opens up this whole conversation around like, soul in art versus like the scale of these Hirst pieces is huge.
Yeah.
Like, I think you do need a team sometimes to pull together stuff, but
100%.
But it's kind of like,
but you need to have your hands in there somewhere.
And I don't know how much is besides the concepts, the hands are there.
Yeah, he just has these grandiose ideas. Like I wouldn't know how to put a great white shark in a tank? Floating in air, I don't know, whatever it is. But obviously, we haven't gone into the history and practices of Hirst. We're just going off this little feud that's happening.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's a lot we don't know about.
No.
him.
So it's kind of like it's interesting because this feud, like the Hockney-Hearst feud, it doesn't really go anywhere. At the end of the day, they both put on shows. They both were really successful shows. They're still both very successful artists. It's just that bringing up that conversation of it's that whole is what is art?
What is
art? And like, is it the concept? Is it the vision? Is it the actual doing? It's a philosophical question, some may say.
Well, he's not involved in it. He's removed himself from the.
Yeah.
It's all Hockney, so it's more of a one guy's just really pissed off at a guy.
Yeah. A lot of these art feuds seem to be one guy just really pissed off at another guy. And I think it's interesting because it's not that one was particularly more famous than the other either at this time. They were both very well-known artists. It's not like one's like, I'm jealous of you. I'm a small thing.
Yeah.
Thing. It's just they were doing very different things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like what do we value more? I guess the craftsmanship or the headline, because Hearst's work is always very like shocking, political, bold.
Yep.
You know? But yeah. I don't have an answer. It's just a feud.
Yeah, interesting. I reckon we should go into that more on an episode about either of them.
What is art?
Regardless if there's a kind of story involved that's crime related, I feel like it'd be interesting to go into either of those.
I mean, and it's interesting that this conversation is happening in that realm and we're having these conversations now in an AI world as well.
Yeah.
It's like the parallels are there and it's like where's the line? Because in my mind as well.
The person you're just the one dictating what you want to see and then something else creates it.
Yeah. Is that enough?
Is that enough? Begs the question, what is art? Liz Lemon, remember when she's like opening that performing school just as the president's wife, Jackie O. Kennedy.
What is art?
Which begs the question, what is art?
Oh, that show. We've got our real niches and it's 30
we do.
Rock
and
Arrested Development.
Yeah.
And I'm about it.
With the millennial.
All right, Joel. This is our fourth feud, which isn't really a feud. Also maybe a frenemies situation.
Okay.
So this is a story about two artists working together, but the timing of everything and the outcome of everything may be blurring the lines a little bit between real friendship and maybe like a bit of a art climbing situation.
Uh-huh.
And how maybe when someone's star is on the rise and someone's maybe plateaued a bit, maybe we attach ourselves to each other to get ourselves to a different.
Yes.
So this is the story of Basquiat versus Warhol.
Versus? Okay.
So this is, it's a bit of a frenemies situation, but take you back. 1980s, New York City. We're back in New York City.
I'm there.
The downtown art scene is really kind of pulsing with this beat of like punk and paint and like rough and ready, and it's like a little bit dirtier and cooler and sexier.
Yeah.
And the new golden child that's kind of coming up in this world is a man named Jean-Michel Basquiat. And he is a self-taught genius who's gone from like tagging buildings with Samo to
with what?
Samo. So it was him. He would tag it, and it was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek of saying the same old ass shit, like same old shit.
Oh, okay. Yep.
When Basquiat first started, he was actually just tagging around New York City. People saw it everywhere, and they were like, Samo.
Yeah.
And it was actually him. They're tagging.
Right.
Yeah, which is interesting. So he went from selling works for about $200 to selling them for about $20,000. He was really coming in hot.
Blew up.
Yep. He's bold, and he's also coming up in a world where like the peers around him are like really seeing this kid like because he was so young. He's also like a young black man in this community.
Yeah.
Old white people buying art. Like it's very different worlds. Andy Warhol had been in the scene for many, many years. He was kind of the icon of the art movement. But at this point, his career's kind of gone a bit stale and stagnant.
Yeah.
So his paintings don't hit like they used to. So it's kind of like his star is dulled and Basquiat's on the move.
Yeah. The Studio 54 of it all's dying down, and more of the Club Kitty punk is starting to be on the rise.
This is exactly the right way to describe it. I love that. There is a mutual art dealer who suggests that Warhol should meet Basquiat.
Mm-hmm.
Basquiat's really excited because he does love Warhol.
He'd probably be one of his icons.
Yeah. Very much so. And when they meet, Warhol does the famous Polaroid of him, like, all of Warhol's Polaroids. So he takes a photo and they have a conversation, and literally Basquiat leaves. 2 hours later, he rocks back up to Warhol's and he's painted a picture of them together to commemorate their time together.
Cool.
Which is so sweet. Like, what a sweet thing.
Warhol wasn't a bitch about it, was he?
No.
Oh, good.
Warhol was not a bitch.
That's good.
This was...
Oh, he was a bit queenie.
Yeah. He was a real cunt. Like,
yeah.
But in this instance, he wasn't. But this is the...
That's so cool.
It's so cool.
That's such a cool painting as well.
So this only took 2 hours to do as well. Like, that just shows, like, this kid was so excited.
Yeah, he would have went home all like pepped up on inspiration, and that's so cool.
He brings it back to Warhol, and Warhol's like, oh my God, I'm blown away by this. You did this in 2 hours. That's incredible. You are actually the real deal that everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
They start a real friendship and they become like quite close. They're hanging out. Warhol suggests that they start collaborating in the studio together. So the process is like quite theatrical. So what Warhol would do is he'd get a big canvas, he'd put his artwork on it, and then Basquiat would come in with his work, and they'd work together for hours at a time.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So it's kind of combining Warhol's like kind of pop art iconography.
Yep.
And then blending it with Basquiat's like movement and jazz.
Yes.
Jazz of it all.
I love the GE, like the General Electric. That's so cool.
So there's like all of these motifs that you would see in Warhol's work and then Basquiat's work.
Yep.
They work together on this kind of work for about a year. In this time, Warhol also becomes Basquiat's landlord and gives him a place to stay because he's not making huge money, but he is also making, like, I don't know, it's a bit tumultuous because, as we know, he's a brilliant painter and he's a genius, but unfortunately he is also addicted to drugs.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, when you become someone's landlord, it's kind of like the rent might not be paid. You've got dicey people staying in your house. And if you don't know, Andy Warhol's quite particular. He's quite, everything's quite structured in his day. He's very... he's not the wild child that at this point as well.
Yeah, and Basquiat's so young.
Yeah, and he's finding this fame, and they've attached themselves to each other. So it's kind of interesting, like Basquiat his star would rise even quicker because he's attached to Warhol.
Yeah.
Eventually, Warhol does evict him from the house, but they still work together, and they produce over 100 works between 1984 and 1985. They kind of do this joint exhibition, and the joint exhibition is a photo you might have seen where they've got the boxing gloves on.
We've got that photo in our house.
Oh, well, it's from this exhibition.
Yeah, we've got it in our living room framed.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So this is in 85. So it's a joint exhibition in Soho. It's kind of put as that like versus, you know. The thing is that when this show opens, now we look at it and we go, this is incredible. At the time when it opens, they really pigeonhole Basquiat as like Andy Warhol's mascot and a bit of a gimmick, and like
okay.
So they like kind of say like who's exploiting who in this situation. And the critics tear apart this artwork. Like they are just like, it's not good. There's no thought behind it. There's nothing.
Yeah. It's like, is Andy using Basquiat to get back to relevancy, or is Basquiat using Andy to rise to further fame?
Yeah.
It's like two different ways it can go.
It can go. And a lot of the critics say that Basquiat is Warhol's puppet. So it's really devastating for this young, and let's be real, this young black artist who is putting his work in front of this old white guard of art world critics.
Yeah.
And they're saying, you're not worth anything. It's quite, it would be so devastating.
Yeah.
The worst part, unfortunately, for Basquiat is that Warhol says nothing about it and doesn't defend him. And doesn't publicly correct the narrative. And for Basquiat, I believe that was more devastating, that his idol didn't come and say, hey, no, this kid's got some talent.
Yeah.
Like, let's listen.
Yeah.
So he feels really humiliated and he does feel used.
Yep.
Really. So the friendship, unfortunately, never really recovers from that, and they do drift apart. And then, so that was 85. By 87, Warhol passes away.
Yep.
And then a few years later, at 27 years old, Basquiat also passes away, unfortunately, from drug use.
Yes.
So it's kind of like this collaboration is worth millions now, but it was not an interesting, but it was just a bit kind of disheartening for a young kid.
People saw it as like almost like a facade. Like this is just, there's nothing behind this other than two people working together.
Yeah, to
make something.
Yeah, and it's that question of, was the friendship real? And I think I like to think it
like to think it is too.
And I think that they just, come on, Warhol, you say something, because this kid could have probably used the backing of you, and I mean, still an incredibly famous artist. They both, but it was just
full on notoriety.
Yeah,
loved the Basquiat and Keith Haring show that they did at the NGV. One of my favorite exhibitions.
It's like, they're just that.
Keith got more crazy in his art. Basquiat got more like minimal.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like this kind of, oh God, if I could live in one place at one time, if I could choose a spot, it'd be there. I know it couldn't.
I'd get addicted to drugs so quick.
Drugs,
yeah.
AIDS crisis. There's a lot happening.
I don't want to plonk myself in there.
God, to be a fly on the wall. The amount of famous artists that have come out of that.
Yeah.
And it's like New York was so dangerous.
Yes. But I just feel like I'd listen to a conversation of all of them together and be like, oh, these people are the worst.
I'm gonna go do some drugs in the back alley.
Yeah. These have all been super interesting, by the way.
Love an art feud.
Yeah.
Make a show called Feuds. Put it on. Did. All right, Joel. Our final feud. Think this would start in a gallery, but it doesn't. Oh! This starts in a laboratory.
In a laboratory?
It's 2014, and there is a British nanotech company called Surrey Nanosystems.
Yep.
Fascinating.
I'm familiar.
Yep. I thought you'd know. They had been creating a scientific paint, which was used for other things, called Vanta Black. They had created this color, which I know it sounds so crazy, and when I show you the picture, you'll understand what I mean. So it's so cool because it's a black color, but it absorbs, because of the makeup of the thing, it absorbs 99.96% of light.
Yep.
So it makes the blackest black in the world.
Yes, I have heard about this actually.
Yes. Yep. So if you look at this photo, that is the two objects side by side.
Yeah.
But one looks completely.
One looks like someone's like cut a hole out of the page.
Yeah, it is like the light is just. It's an insane optical illusion.
That's great. You can't see any form of texture whatsoever.
It is. If you coat,
it's like witchcraft.
Yeah, if you coat an object in it, it looks like you've painted a void.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. So we've created, what was the name of the company again, Joel?
Surrey Hills Optometrists.
Yes. So Surrey Hills Optometrists Nanosystems has created this paint, and artists, this is the new color. Artists are losing it because they're like, the possibilities.
Yeah.
So it's like, how could it transform the art world with sculpture and installation and performance art? Possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
However, it is announced that one man and one man alone has been granted the exclusive artistic rights to use it. His name is Anish Kapoor.
Okay.
Now, he was already famous for making like massive like artworks and sculpture previously.
Mm.
And his kind of work is obsessive with like depth perception and things like that. So he's in that world. However, because he's purchased this and the rights to this piece, like this product, it means that no other artist can use it. So he's kind of gone fuck you to everyone else.
This is my black.
Yeah, this is my Vanta Black and no one else can use it and you can't even think about it. And the backlash is kind of instant. Like artists are so mad. How can you own something like this? It doesn't make sense. People are getting their knickers in a twist.
Well, when you think about it, they can't make this paint public because once it gets in the hands of people are going to be painting like holes in or painting like on brick walls and cars are going to go through it.
Just Vanta Black.
Yeah.
You know what? In the wrong hands,
it's going to create
weapon.
Craziness.
So, it could really create craziness. But people are saying like people are losing their minds that they're not allowed to get their hands on Vanta Black. It also is like that ethical question again of like, what do you have access to in an art world if you have enough money and you can, should we be allowed to have access to everything? Are we gatekeeping? Blah, 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 blah. Enter Stuart Semple. So he sees all of this unfold and he's a British artist and he's known for being like pretty playful. He's got a political mindset. He's cool, he's edgy, he's punky. Like he's a punk guy.
Yeah.
And he believes that art materials should be for everyone. And he's very much like, you shouldn't have to be rich and famous to be able to get into this world. So he gets mad at Kapoor because this is like very anti everything he stands for. And so he launches something called the Pinkest Pink. He creates a hot fluorescent, aggressive pink pigment, similar to what Vanta Black does. However, it's in pink.
Okay.
And it's like really fun. And if you go to purchase it, there is a catch. If you try and add this to your checkout, you have to tick and legally say, by adding this product to your cart, you confirm you are not Anish Kapoor. You are in no way affiliated with Anish Kapoor, and you are not purchasing this item on behalf of Anish Kapoor or an associate of Anish Kapoor.
Oh, that pink would look so cool splattered on that black though.
If they just joined together.
So, please.
Squash the beef.
Stop feuding.
So
the possibilities.
So people really got behind this.
Yeah.
Because we love a petty feud.
Yeah.
No one's really getting that hurt.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of jumped on board and like got on board with it, like bought it, posted it, all of this stuff. The whole thing, obviously, people loved, but of course, Kapoor eventually gets his hand on the Pinkest Pink.
Oh, no.
I know.
It was the one thing he wasn't allowed to get.
He wasn't allowed. The whole thing just exploded.
Yeah.
He opens it up. It's one of those silly snakes in the can.
Oh, you bastard.
So instead of ignoring the whole thing, he gets his hands on it and he just posts a singular Instagram photo. There's no context. There's no caption. It's just this image.
Oh, no.
So, Joel, what can you see there?
I mean, it's pretty pink, I guess. It's him giving the finger with his finger dipped in the pink pigment.
Yep. He's just a bit of a fuck you to the old, the pinkest of pinks.
That's the pinkest of pinks.
Girl.
I don't know.
I think
maybe I have to see it in real life.
Yeah, I think once you mix it in with its like, you've got to
make it into paint.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the post, and everyone
that's
lost.
How Black Pink started.
It's Black Pink. Beginnings of Black Pink.
So does Kapoor still have the full rights to this black?
I believe so. Yes.
Gatekeep it. Use it for something.
So that's what kind of he posts that, and then Semple responded immediately, and his team, he and his team developed Black 2.0. So it's a super matte black pigment that was affordable, easy to use, non-toxic, and marketed as an alternative to Vanta Black.
Okay.
So they've essentially...
It's not as black? Or it's still black?
It's still black, but it's like less toxic. It's probably not as stunning.
Gotcha.
But it's still pretty close as you're going to get it without it. Because obviously Vanta Black as well would be a bit of a toxic situation. Because it's like you've got to have the right respirators and all this stuff.
Yeah.
This is like a non-toxic fun version.
Mm-hmm.
Claus was still no Kapoor. So he's still not allowed to buy that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he owns the original Vanta Black. It's like, girl, I don't need it. The feud didn't stop there. Semple has released color-changing paints, glow-in-the-dark powders, the most reflective white in existence. Each product came with its own cheeky marketing, same legally binding ban against Kapoor.
Did he do that really sexy green? It's like a green, like a foresty, like deep green, and it's the most gorgeous green I've ever seen in my life.
I'd say so.
Yeah, because the picture is a powder pigment of it, and I'm like, oh, maybe he's
done that one.
He did that green.
Maybe he just done that green. So he has created essentially an entire counterculture pigment empire.
Yeah.
Fueled by the kind of hate of this one person. And honestly, Kapoor has never really said anything about it. He's kind of stayed silent in the whole thing. It was kind of, besides the image of the Instagram, kind of said.
Well, Kapoor kind of fumbled the bag because he could have come up with the 2.0 version that's non-toxic, made it available for everyone and did all that kind of stuff, made money from it. Like what money is he getting from gatekeeping this one
pigment?
It's
like, what are you really
What are you doing with it?
What are you doing with it, Kapoor?
Painting holes in walls.
Painting holes. He's like, just
like the road runner, so Wile E. Coyote smashes into it. I'm sorry.
We're at the end. That's the story of Vanta Black and Pinkest Pink. It's a kind of a bit of a story around control and gatekeeping within the artist community. But at the end of the day, I think we kind of came out on top because now we have this whole pigment company that would have started if someone didn't gatekeep a colour.
With the coolest colours in all the world.
Sponsor us.
Very, very fun. So I love a list.
That's our 5 feuds.
Yes.
Woo!
Good job. That was very interesting.
Thanks. I love a little bit of pettiness.
Yeah.
Pettiness on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Or whatever day you're listening.
Petty spaghetti. Petit fleur.
Petit fleur. As always, you know where to find us. We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on a podcast app. We're on YouTube. You know where to find us. Come say hey. Write us a comment. We'd love to read them.
Have a great week.
Thank you, Joel. Glad that you said it. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.